Okay, so today we're going to start with the Free Code Camp number 1, Responsive Web Design Certification. I'm just going to do the first two, I think, maybe the third one some other time, but today we're going to start with the first, then we might do the second one later. But as you can see, it's 69 steps to build this cat photo app, and this is what it's going to look like. So let's start coding. So as you know, in HTML, you start with the HTML and end with it, and you always have, or most of the time, you have an opening and closing tag. And yeah, so let's see what it wants. It says change the text of the H1 element below from hello world to cat photo app. So just copy this and change it here, check your code, and submit and go to the next challenge. Okay. So you can read through like all of it. I'm just gonna run through it real quick. You can pause or do it on your own to learn more about it, but I'm just gonna try to explain things as I go. Okay, so basically we have H1, H2, all the way up to H6. H1 is the biggest one, and then it goes down to with each number to H6. H6 is the smallest heading of them all. So as you can see here, it wants us to add cat photos as H2. So you just open and add cat photos and then close it and submit, and there it is. It's a bit smaller than that one. Moving on, P is to create a paragraph. So you just insert the P element just like that, and let me copy this for simplicity and close it, and there you go. It just adds a paragraph, and this is annoying. And to comment, it's pretty simple. So we add a comment above the P with this text. So let's copy this, and to comment, this is the syntax for it. So as you can see, everything in between this and this is the comment. So it doesn't show, it's only in the code. So next. And let's see what it wants. Identify the main section of this page by adding a main opening tag before the H1. So this isn't really that important, but it's also still kind of important. Like your code can run without it, but it just makes it more neat, and if someone's reading your code, it makes it easy for them to know what is the main section, and it just helps you be more organized. So the H1 element, H2 element, and the comment are indented 2 spaces more than the main element in the code below. Use the space bar on your keyboard to add 2 more spaces in front of the P element so that it is indented well. Okay, that's it, I guess. That was easy. Okay, add an image element below the P. Okay, so to add an image, it's simple, just img, and then you, of course, close it, img. What's wrong here? Oh, it doesn't have a closing tag, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. Cool. Okay, so the source. So, okay, for the image, you need a source, and then you need to reference that source. So, src, and then you put an equal sign and quotes, and you can either link it from your folder that this code is existing in, or you can, as you can see here, just take it from the internet by adding the path to it, and it does that. So submit. It's given here, but you can just use any picture from the internet. So inside the img element, add an alt attribute with this text. So again, this isn't really that important, but it helps for someone who's reading your code, or if you want to be a little fancy, but it's not really that important. It's just more, like it says, just more, what's the word? Just more description of the picture. So here you have a picture. You don't know what it is when you're just looking at the code, right? Unless it specifies it in the name, but usually it might not. You know, it could be just the number 1 or something. So you would add an alt that says a cute orange cat lying on its back, so that you know that this picture refers to this picture, and it just makes it easier. Basically, you get it. All right. Add an anchor element after the paragraph that links to HTTP. At this point, the link won't show up in the preview. Okay, anchor element, that's pretty easy. Let me just copy that and then change this. Submit, and you'll see what an anchor does shortly. Add the anchor element, add the anchor text link to the anchor element. Okay, so you put that here, and that's what the anchor does. It's just it's like text, and you can reference it to a link, and now it becomes a hyperlink, and if you click on it, it goes to the to this link right here. And as you can see here, it says normally this link would work, but it's not working right now because they don't want it to work. Okay, moving on. In the text of your P element, turn the words cat photos into a link by adding opening and closing anchor a tags around these words, then set the href attribute to this. Okay. In the text of your P element, I gotta read this again. Turn the words into a link. Okay, so I think we should put the A outside, and we should close it at the end, and then we set the href here to this right here. And is that all? You should nest within. Oh, okay, my bad. So we gotta put this. I'm actually not sure how to do this. We're gonna have to experiment with it. It's gonna be here, and then you close it here, I'm guessing. Oh, we forgot to change it to this, I think. Okay, I messed up everything, I'm sorry. Okay, in the text of your P element. Okay, wait, I'll figure this out and get back to you. Okay, I figured it out. Basically, you start the paragraph, see more, and then the words cat photos in the paragraph, we're going to want to make that into the hyperlink, and then in our gallery just continues on like a normal paragraph. So that's why you put the anchor in between the paragraph, and you make this the hyperlink text, so that's why it's the only text in between the A, and then you link that to this with the href, and that's it. And as you can see, this is how it works. Alright, moving on. Now that you turned the text cat photos inside the P element into a link, you don't need the second link below the P element. Delete the entire anchor. Alright, that's all you gotta do, just delete. Alright. Add a target attribute with the value _blank to the anchor. Okay. So we do that after the href. So target equals to _blank. So what this does is it becomes like the target of this link becomes a new page. So when you click on cat photos right here, it won't reset this and into that link. No, it'll just open up a new one, like as you can see here, it'll just open a new tab and go to it instead of going to the link in this tab. But yeah, moving on. In previous steps, sorry, we don't need to read all that. Turn the image into a link by surrounding it with necessary element tags. Use as the anchor's href attribute tag. Oh, okay. Turn the image into a link. Okay, we got it. So here's the image, and we gotta turn it into a link. So I'm guessing we use an anchor, of course, and we close the anchor here. I really hate HTML tags, how you have to open and close them. It's just so trippy with the how many buttons you have to press, especially when it's on a website like this, but whatever. Okay, and we do href, and then it should work. Yes. Okay, so we're putting the image in between the anchor. So instead of a text, instead of pressing on text like this, you press on the image and it becomes a link, or a hyperlink, you could say, and you just put the href and it's easy. You put the href inside the opening tag of the anchor, and as always, take your h2 comment, p, and anchor and nest them inside a section element. Okay, so it's easy. Let me just indent a little section, open it, and close it at the end. Easy peasy. This does nothing to the code, it just makes it more cleaner over here. Moving on, it is time to add a new section. So let me just copy paste this for simplicity, or efficiency I should say, and that's it. Okay, within the second section, add a new h2 element with the text cat lists. So we start here with the h2, and then cat lists, and then close the h2 tag, and that's all. Okay, things cats love. After the last h2 element After the last h2 element of the second section element, add an h3 element with this text. So here we add an h3 with this text. What's the text? Things cats love. And then we close it. And that's it. So as you can see, we have an h2 tag and then h3, which is slightly smaller, and this is h1, which is the biggest one of them all. And okay, now we need an unordered list. That's what UL stands for. So yeah, so nothing will be displayed after you add the unordered list, because there's no list of things to be displayed. So I think it has a closing tag, but I'm not sure. Yes. Okay. And okay, so inside the unordered list you have li. Li is for each element inside that list. So within the ul element, nest 3 items to display things cats love. So this is one, there's another, there's another. Okay, so li catnip, and then you close it. Yeah. And then for simplicity or efficiency, I keep saying simplicity, we do this, and then we just change this here, change this here, and that's it. As you can see, it adds it. It's an unordered list, so it's just bullet points. If it was an ordered list, it would be 1, 2, 3. After the unordered list, add an image with the src attribute value set to this, add its alt attribute to this. Okay, so easy peasy. img, and we close it, and it doesn't have a closing tag, so src equals to this right here, and then after that we have to put the alt attribute. So alt is this, and should work. Yes, there we go. The figure element represents self-contained content and will allow you to associate an image with a caption. Nest the image you just added within a figure element. I gotta read this again, sorry, I spaced out. The figure element represents self-contained content and will allow you to associate an image with a caption. Nest the image you just added within a figure element. Alright, so basically just put it inside the figure element. There we go. Alright, so after the image nested in the figure element, add a fig caption element with the text set to this. So here we have the figure. Inside the figure element, we just have the image. And we want to add a fig caption to the figure. So that happens with the figure element. So easy peasy. Most things in HTML are just you open a tag, insert what you want, close the tag, and inside the opening tag, that's when you put the attributes. So the alt or the source or href or whatever, and everything is in the middle is what goes into that element. So it's pretty straightforward most of the time. So you can use the em element to place emphasis on a specific word or phrase. Emphasize the word love in the fig caption by wrapping it in the em. So like I said, em close, and then em, or sorry, open and then close. Wait, I'm pressing the wrong button. And as you can see, it emphasized the word love. Next, after the figure element, add another h3 with this text. So h3 close, top 3 things cats hate, and then close it. Next. Okay, now since it says top 3 things, okay, things cats love, okay, we don't need an ordered list for that. But top 3, there's an order to that. So here we're going to use an ordered list. This was UL, which is unordered list. Now it's going to be OL, which is ordered list. So after the second section element's last H3 element, add an ordered list with these 3 items. So ordered list. So open and close. Okay, and within that we're gonna add the li element, and then we're gonna close it, and then we're gonna add flee treatment, and then of course we're just gonna do this and this, thunder, copy paste, other cats, copy paste. So we have the ordered list opened and closed over here. Inside the ordered list we have the list element 1, 2, and 3, and then the name or what we want to put there, which is flea treatment, thunder, and other cats. Submit and go to next challenge. Alright, after the ordered list, add another figure element. So easy peasy, just figure and close it. Okay, inside the figure element, you just added nest an image with the source attribute set to this. So let's copy this, img source. So this might seem really intimidating for you, or hard, or something, but you get used to it and it becomes almost easy. Or it does become easy. Like, these things are really easy. All of this whole program is really, really easy. You're just inserting things, you're just doing something simple. So don't get intimidated by this. This is why I like free code camp. It helps you, like, it's like a tutor basically. It just sits on top of your head and tells you do this, do this, do this. And at first you're just following it blindly, and then at some point things start to click into place, and you actually start like realizing things. Like when I first started, I was like, what, IMG? Oh my god, how do I remember that element? How do I know which ones to close, which ones to open only, and which ones to open and close? And source, how do I, like, why is it spelled like that? And what do I need to put in between quotes and all that? But you get used to it with time. Just keep trying. And with time, you'll adjust. So to improve accessibility of the image you just add an alt attribute with this text. 5 cats looking around a field. Alright, see, these are the 5 cats, and after the source we just add the alt in between quotes, and there you go. After and as you can see, like, the alt attribute is just, it doesn't show on the screen, it doesn't show on the website, it's just simply in the code. Yeah, okay. After the last IMG element, add a fig caption element with the text "Cats hate other cats." Okay. Fig caption. And then close the fig caption. And there you go. Alright. The strong element is used to indicate that some text is strong. So I think, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that this makes it bold. So in the fig caption you just added, indicate hate is a strong word by wrapping it in strong element. So open, and then close it here. Let's see what it does. Yeah, I kind of messed it up. Oops. Okay, it is time to add a new section. Add the third section element below the second section element. Okay, so let's just okay, I was gonna do something really lazy, but I can't find the opening tag, so whatever. Let's just do it manually. Okay, inside the third section element, add an h2 element with the text cat form. Okay. h2, close h2, and here we put cat form. Oops. Now you will add a web form to collect information from users. Okay, add a form element here. So form, and the example tells the browser that the form data should be sent to the path submit /URL or -URL. Add an action attribute with the form, with the value this to the form element. Okay. Okay, wait, that's how you do it. It's here. Action. Damn, I blundered that spelling. And we're gonna set that to this. I think that's it, yeah. So basically this form is going to be submitted to this URL, but that's not really important right now. The input element allows you several ways to collect data from a form, from a web form. Like IMG elements, input elements are a void element and do not need closing tags. Nest an input element in the form element. Okay. Input. And it doesn't need a closing tag. There are many kinds of inputs. you can create using the type attribute. Okay, create a text field to get text input from a user by adding the type attribute with the value text to the input element. Okay, so type text. So as you can see here, it accepts text now. Okay, add the name attribute with the value cat photo URL to your text field. To your text field. I don't understand that. Hold on. I guess that's what it wants me to do. Alright. Add the placeholder text cat photo URL to the input element. Okay, we just add a placeholder here. Now I'm pretty sure you know what that does. It's a placeholder. It just shows, but it doesn't really do anything. It just shows you what you should put. Like sometimes in a password, it just says password, even though it's not typed there. It just tells you that you're supposed to type your password here. So to prevent a user from submitting your form when required information is missing, you need to add the required attribute. So as you know, like sometimes you just don't need to put something, it's optional, so you can just submit, but in this case it's required, so we need to say that it is required. The button element is used to create a clickable button. Add a button element with the text submit below the input element. The default behavior of clicking a form button without any attributes submits the form to the location specified in the form's action attribute. So we need to add a button with the submit. Okay, so here we say button and we close the button with the text submit, and that's it. And as you can see, we have a button. That's a submit. Okay, even though you added a button below the text, that's because they appear next to each other. That's because both input are inline elements. Okay, add the type attribute with the value submit to the button to make it clear that it is a submit button. Okay, so basically we're just making this button actually like we're telling the code, the program, that this is a submit button, because it knows that it's a button and it knows that it has the text submit right here, but it doesn't know that it's the type of button you push to submit. So that's what we're specifying here. Okay, so moving on, we have the next step, which is telling you about radio buttons. And radio buttons are for questions where you only want one answer out of multiple options. So they want us to type this, which is input type radio indoor. So input is that, to tell the program we're expecting an input. The type is radio because we want one answer out of, one choice out of the multiple answers, and indoor is just one of the choices that are given. As you can see here, indoor is one of them. But yeah, in the example, clicking on the word cat will also select the radio button. Nest your radio button inside a label element. Okay, so label and close it. So now it's within a label. We don't see that here, but we see it here. Input ID email, okay, and an ID attribute with the value indoor to the radio button. When elements have multiple attributes, the order of the attributes doesn't matter. Okay, so we need to add an ID. To here. So as you can see, it says it doesn't matter, so we can put it before the type or after the type. and we set the ID to indoor. Okay. Create another radio button, nest it within okay. So basically it's the same thing, we just changed indoor to outdoor. If I can spell that right. What did I do wrong? Outdoor. Oh, I spelled this wrong. Oops. Add the name attribute with the value indoor outdoor to both radio buttons. Okay, add a value attribute to both radio buttons. For convenience, set the values attribute to the same value as its ID attribute. Okay, now what does a value attribute do? Here it says, I don't really see. Okay, if you select the indoor radio button and submit the form data will the form data for the button is based on its name and value. Since your radio buttons do not have a value attribute, the form will include indoor outdoor equals on, which is not useful for when you have multiple buttons. Okay, I see. So now we need to add a value attribute, and let's do that here. Value indoor, and let's copy this and paste it here and change indoor to outdoor. What's wrong with this? Oh, oops. Okay, the field set element is used to group related inputs and labels together in a WIP form. Oh, I see. Okay, so field set. So basically this is just saying that these are all within the same question. So that, you know, if you select this, it unselects this, and if you select this, it unselects this, so that, you know, it really does work when you want only one option. Okay, the legend is me. The legend element acts as a caption for the content in the field set element. It gives the users context about what they should enter into that part of the form. Add a legend element with the text. Is your cat an indoor or an outdoor cat? So basically this is just a question. Okay, legend. And as you can see, this is the field set right here, this border, I guess, and this is the legend, and these are the options. So when you select indoor, you can't select both of them, as you can see. But yeah, okay. Next, you are going to add some new form input elements. So add another field set element directly under. So let me just copy this and then just delete this. Add a legend element with the text, what's your cat's personality? Okay, so let's do this, and we're just copy pasting here. Under the legend element you just add an input with its type attribute set to checkbox and give it the option of loving. Okay, under add an input, so input and type checkbox. I'll explain in a minute what all of this does. And loving. Okay, so input Sorry. Okay, input is for an input. Type is checkbox. Checkbox is basically just a box, like a couple boxes, as you can see right here, like 1, 2, 3 boxes, and you can just check all the boxes that are correct, that are, you know, that answer the question. So to the right of the checkbox. Okay, that's what it's doing. Oh, I just needed a space. Okay, cool. And add an ID attribute with the value loving to the checkbox. Okay, so ID equals loving, close it. Okay. Associate the text loving with the checkbox by nesting only the text loving in a label element and give it an appropriate for attribute. Okay, so label close the label, and then we put the for attribute. So for what do we put for the for? What does it say? Loving, I guess. Should be located after your checkbox. Oh, I see. There we go. Add the name attribute with the value personality to the checkbox element. Okay. Name. Add another checkbox after the one you just added. So let me just copy this. The ID attribute should be set to lazy, and the name should be the same as the last checkbox. So lazy is for the ID, name is personality. Also add a label, lazy, so the label here is lazy, and make sure to, okay, for lazy again. I think this needs to be lowercase. Oh, this needs to be that. Okay, we're good. Okay, and I think we need to add one more, which is energetic. So we do the same thing, but we change it to energetic, energetic, energetic. I think this needs to be lowercase. Lowercase, yeah, there we go. Okay, we're almost done, just 9 more. Add a value attribute to each checkbox. For convenience, set checkbox's value attribute to the same value as its ID attribute. Hold on, let me read this. Okay, so just basically add a value. So value equals to loving, and let me just put that here and here, and then change this to lazy, change this to energetic, and we're good. And as you can see, it's coming along nicely. I don't really understand this. There's no need to set a value to the checked attribute. Instead, just add the word checked to the input element, making sure there is space between it and the other attributes. Make the first button. Okay, so okay, so basically it keeps something, one of them checked. So make the first radio button and the first checkbox button. Okay, so we're gonna make it indoor, and here that should work. Yes, it worked. The footer element is used to define a footer, so you know, it's just like what's it called, like a word document. You just add a footer. Okay, within the footer we want to insert this in a paragraph. Sorry, I got carried away. Okay, so we need to turn the existing freecodecamp.org into a link with the anchor element. And okay, so freecodecamp, so A, and then close it here, and then we set the href to be this right here, and that should be it, I think. Yeah. Okay, add a head element above the body element. So basically the head element is just like another section, but like kind of like a formal one. It's just like head, body, you know, it's the same thing. The title element determines what browsers show in the title bar or for the top of the page. Add a title. Okay. So this it basically just shows that, like right here, this is the title of the page. So this is the same thing. Within the head element, we put the title. So title. You can also specify the language. This is not important at all, but it's good practice. So lang equals to en, just to tell the person that this is an HTML document that is in English, and all HTML documents should start with this, just for good practice, to tell everyone that this is an HTML document. And last but not least, this last step is for the meta charset, and I'm still not really sure what this does. It's not really that important, but it's basically just about the metadata of the document. So inside the head element, nest a meta element with an attribute named charset. So meta charset equals to UTF-8, and that's it. We're done. This is the final app right here. If you want, you can simply just take all this code right here, copy it, paste it into VS Code, and see if it works or not. I've already done it. It works. And yeah, so in the checkbox you can select more than one, and this you can only select one, and this is highlighted, and here you can submit some text, and that's basically it.